The 1947 photograph of Elizabeth and Philip is often viewed as a symbol of youthful love and royal promise. But behind those smiles is a complex reality. Two people bound by duty were stepping into roles that would both define and confine them for life. What the image doesn't show is the quiet tension beneath the surface. In 1947, Britain's monarchy stood on uncertain ground. Just over a decade earlier, Edward VIII's abdication had shaken the royal foundation. This left George VI to carry the burden of a crown under immense strain. The king's health was fragile after the war, reflecting a nation still grappling with its scars. Rationing persisted, with food shortages a daily reality. These hardships reminded citizens of sacrifices made and those yet to come. Meanwhile, the British Empire, once vast and unshakable, was visibly contracting. The old order was slowly unraveling. Against this backdrop, Elizabeth and Philip's union was more than a personal story. It became a symbol of continuity amid change, a fragile hope for a monarchy striving to redefine itself. This was a world that no longer resembled the one their predecessors had known. The monarchy faced the challenge of maintaining relevance as colonial independence movements gained momentum. Public faith in old institutions waned, making the royal family's future uncertain. Elizabeth and Philip's 1947 wedding was more than a royal ceremony. It was a beacon of hope for a weary nation. Philip, born a prince of Greece and Denmark in 1921, faced exile from an early age, yet he embraced his new British identity wholeheartedly. He became a naturalized citizen and served as a decorated combat veteran during World War II. Their union symbolized resilience and renewal, capturing the imagination of millions. The wedding broadcast reached 200 million listeners worldwide, offering a moment of shared optimism amid lingering hardship. Together, Elizabeth and Philip embodied a future where tradition met change. They were a couple poised to navigate the complexities of a fading empire while inspiring belief in the monarchy's enduring relevance. Their marriage was seen as a bridge between old Europe and the modern world. It blended royal lineage with a spirit of service that deeply resonated with post-war audiences eager for stability and renewal. Philip's military career was a defining part of his identity, marked by steady advancement. By the early 1950s, he had risen to lieutenant commander and took command of HMS Magpie. This position reflected his competence and dedication. Everything shifted dramatically when Elizabeth ascended the throne in 1952. His active service ended abruptly. Despite receiving promotions, his autonomy diminished. The role of consort was ambiguous, honored publicly but constrained privately. Philip found himself navigating a delicate balance between loyalty to the crown and the loss of professional independence. This tension shaped much of his life and revealed the complex personal sacrifices behind the public image. Stripped of his naval command, Philip wrestled with frustration and invisibility. He embodied the challenges faced by those whose personal aspirations must yield to institutional expectations. To the public, Elizabeth and Philip's marriage seemed like a timeless love story, a union of grace and devotion. Their expressions, crafted carefully in photos and public appearances, were almost architectural, precise, composed, and symbolic. But beneath this polished surface lay a relationship shaped deeply by the demands of the monarchy. Private letters and diaries reveal a far more complex dynamic, filled with negotiation, sacrifice, and occasional strain. Their public front was less a spontaneous display of affection and more a carefully maintained performance. It was designed to uphold the image of stability and continuity. This contrast between public perception and private reality highlights the personal challenges they faced, caught between duty and individuality. Their marriage was a constant balancing act between public expectations and private needs. It reflected the broader tension between tradition and change within the royal family itself. Philip's letters from the late 1940s offer a rare glimpse into the emotional complexity behind his public facade. He struggled with feeling ill-suited to a supporting role and wrestled with a desire for independence. This desire often seemed at odds with his position beside Elizabeth. Yet Elizabeth, aware of his need for autonomy, valued and encouraged this independence. She created a delicate balance between partnership and duty. The correspondence reveals moments of genuine connection, tenderness, and mutual respect, far more nuanced than the polished public image suggests. These intimate exchanges highlight the personal sacrifices and emotional negotiations that defined their relationship. They underscore the profound humanity beneath the weight of royal expectations. The letters reveal a couple constantly adapting to the pressures of their roles. They also show how they strove to nurture their bond in private moments away from the public eye. A key conflict in Elizabeth and Philip's marriage centered on their children's surname. Philip wanted the family to carry the Mountbatten name, a symbol of his identity and legacy. However, Winston Churchill and other establishment figures saw Mountbatten as a dynastic threat. They feared it might upset the traditional order. This dispute revealed deeper anxieties about authority and lineage within the monarchy. The 1960 compromise created the Mountbatten-Windsor surname. It was more than just a naming choice. It was a delicate concession shaped by power struggles behind palace walls. This episode showed how personal desires were often set aside for the monarchy's demands. It highlighted the limits of autonomy, even within the royal family. It also reflected ongoing tension between modernization and preserving centuries-old traditions in the institution. Philip was officially made a prince in 1957, a title that seemed to secure his place beside the Queen. Yet despite this honor, his role within the institution remained limited. Household staff answered directly to Elizabeth, not Philip, highlighting the boundaries of his authority behind palace doors. His talents and efforts often faced institutional resistance, leading to growing frustration. He pushed to modernize royal estates and processes, only to see many of his ideas quietly shelved or watered down by strong palace traditions. Philip was a man of action, trapped in a system that valued tradition and hierarchy over personal initiative. This sidelining created a quiet but constant tension, showing how even those closest to the throne could feel confined by the institution they served. His experience revealed the delicate balance between public honor and private limitation, illustrating the complexities of power and identity within royal life. Throughout their decades together, persistent whispers of various dalliances occasionally swirled about Philip's relationships beyond the public eye. Yet Elizabeth chose deliberate silence, a strategic decision to shield both her husband and the monarchy from scandal. Rather than addressing these whispers openly, she prioritized preserving the institution's stability over personal exposure or confrontation. This silence was not mere denial, but a calculated act of protection, reflecting a deep understanding of the fragile balance they maintained. In choosing to contain the tension privately, Elizabeth demonstrated the harsh realities of royal life, where personal complexities are often sacrificed to uphold a public image and safeguard the continuity of a centuries-old institution. This approach underlined the often unseen negotiations and compromises essential to maintaining the monarchy's public standing. Amid the pressures and performances, Philip's letters reveal a profound truth. Elizabeth made him feel truly known. Despite the constraints of their roles, small public gestures, a brief touch or a shared glance, offered glimpses of genuine affection and understanding. These moments, though fleeting, spoke of an enduring bond beneath their carefully constructed facade. Their connection faced strain and sacrifice, but it was real, a private sanctuary amid the demands of monarchy. This authentic emotional thread, woven quietly through decades, invites us to see their relationship not just as a public spectacle, but as a deeply human partnership. Together they navigated an impossible position. Such moments of intimacy gave them strength and solace, helping them endure the relentless pressures of their lives. Thinking about Elizabeth and Philip's story, how does public duty shape or limit intimate relationships? Can genuine connection survive and even thrive under such intense scrutiny and high expectations? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear your perspective on this delicate balance. Philip felt deep frustration after leaving his naval career and facing a limited role. This tension found quiet relief during a rare moment of reflection. He famously said, "I had to accept that I wasn't going to be king." There was no self-pity, only clear acceptance of his role and its limits. This mindset let him focus his energy differently, choosing support over command. Though his position was constrained, it did not reduce his influence. Instead, it shaped his resilient and adaptable approach. His acceptance was not surrender, but a strategic decision to endure and contribute within royal life's strict rules. This insight helped him find purpose despite personal sacrifices, showing the complex balance of identity and duty in their marriage. Their marriage was more than a simple love story. It was a complex, ongoing negotiation across decades. Elizabeth and Philip took on roles requiring compromise and sacrifice. They balanced personal desires with institutional expectations. Their choices were imperfect, sometimes causing harm, other times bringing good. Yet, they always navigated a central contradiction that remained unresolved. Their relationship reflected the tension between individuality and duty, intimacy and public performance. Over 70 years, they kept going, not because their union was flawless, but because they committed to endure an impossible situation. This nuanced view challenges the idealized image, revealing a marriage shaped by resilience, complexity, and constant effort. Their story reminds us that enduring partnerships often thrive not despite, but because of their imperfections and challenges. Philip's death on April 9, 2021, marked the end of an era and a deeply personal loss for Elizabeth and the nation. Her public statement was brief and measured, just 11 words long, conveying grief held back by duty. The funeral was somber and intimate, limited by pandemic restrictions, but deeply symbolic. Elizabeth sat alone, a solitary figure representing decades of shared history, resilience, and sacrifice. This moment revealed the personal cost behind their public partnership, the quiet sorrow of a woman who had spent a lifetime beside her consort. It reminded us that beneath the royal image were two people bound by love, loss, and an unspoken understanding of their shared burdens. The ceremony's silence echoed the profound loneliness of leadership mixed with personal grief. Elizabeth's reign brought stability to a changing monarchy, but their marriage left a complicated legacy. Emotional distance marked their family, especially between Philip and their eldest son, Charles. Philip's harsh treatment demanded stoicism and physical strength, qualities Charles struggled to embody. This left lasting marks on Charles's upbringing and character. Elizabeth, focused on duty and crown, often struggled to bridge these personal gaps. Their choices, made under immense pressure, preserved the institution but came at a cost. Relationships became fragmented, and tensions remained unspoken. This duality, strengthening the monarchy while straining family bonds, reflects the painful complexities they faced. Their legacy is not flawless unity, but enduring contradictions and difficult sacrifices. These shaped both the monarchy and their private lives. The tension within their family shows how public roles affect personal realms, often with lasting consequences. The institutional demands on Elizabeth and Philip's family life were profound and intrusive. They shaped even the smallest moments. When Charles was just 4 years old, he greeted his mother, the Queen, not with a child's embrace, but with a formal handshake. This was a stark symbol of how royal protocol influenced their personal interactions. This early example shows how the monarchy's expectations imposed a rigid framework on their family. prioritizing duty and decorum over natural warmth. These pressures shaped behavior and relationships, often blurring the line between public role and private life. Such moments reveal the pervasive reach of the institution, where even family bonds were negotiated within tradition and responsibility. The tension between natural affection and imposed formality shaped the royal household's emotional landscape. Philip's choice to leave a promising naval career for marriage was a profound sacrifice. It symbolized the tough decisions both he and Elizabeth faced. From a young age, Elizabeth accepted the heavy burden of her royal destiny. She stepped into a role shaped by duty, not personal desire. Throughout their lives, they made these conscious decisions again and again. Each choice balanced personal dreams with the demands of their roles. Though frustration and resentment simmered beneath the surface, they embraced their duties with resilience. Their story is not about effortless devotion, but about two people navigating impossible circumstances. They balanced personal cost with a commitment to serve a greater legacy. These sacrifices reveal the deep personal toll of a life dedicated to public service. Beyond the public gaze were private codes, unspoken jokes, and shared glances, a unique language known only to two. This language was never recorded. After Philip's death, Elizabeth faced profound loneliness. Her solitude came from the end of their lifelong silent conversation, an intimacy unseen by the world. The world saw a composed monarch, but behind closed doors, she was a woman mourning her lifelong partner. She grappled with the void left by their singular, unspoken communication. These unseen dimensions remind us that no matter the grandeur or scrutiny, deep human connection endures. The gaps in their story invite reflection on what remains forever private, the complexities, unspoken understanding, and quiet love that history's public narrative can never fully capture. This hidden side of their lives deepens our understanding of the human cost behind the crown. In these quiet, unobserved spaces, the true emotional depth of their relationship emerges. It shows how even those who seem most untouchable face the universal experience of grief and longing. The story of Elizabeth and Philip defies simple labels. It is neither a classic love story nor a straightforward tragedy. Instead, their narrative was shaped, and sometimes consumed, by the institution they served. Their marriage held unresolved tensions and exhausting contradictions. It was a delicate dance between personal sacrifice and public duty. They made choices that brought both harm and good, never fully resolving the core conflicts in their lives. This legacy gives us a complex portrait of two people bound by circumstance, resilience, and a lasting commitment to a role greater than themselves. Their story invites us to rethink what it means to endure, love, and lead under history's weight. It challenges simplistic narratives, urging us toward deeper understanding. Elizabeth and Philip's story reminds us that behind every public image lies a complex human reality. Their lives were full of contradictions and compromise, creating a legacy both inspiring and unresolved. Reflecting on their journey encourages us to look deeper, beyond surface appearances. If you enjoy stories that embrace complexity and avoid simple answers, subscribe for more thoughtful explorations. Together, we'll uncover the nuanced realities behind history's most compelling lives. We'll honor both the difficult truths and moments of grace,